This is Blake, a friendly, easygoing beer salesman and a contestant on Australia Traitors Season 2. Here is a picture of him in the first episode, and here he is in the finale. Distressed players in a Traitors finale are nothing new, but this is usually because they face the consequences of putting their trust in the wrong person. Blake's situation is very different. He is reckoning with his complicity in the schemes of a player he knew was an untrustworthy, malignant egotist. And as a result, he played a major role in twisting the game into a Shakespearean tragedy. Let's start with the caveat that you can't trust reality TV. The entire genre is carefully curated by editors and producers to create an engaging narrative. Any conclusions or judgments I make about the people involved will lack critical pieces of information. I have been fed a product, not a realistic depiction of events. I've done my best to address this by listening to cast interviews to get a feel for how their experiences contrast with what's presented. But an analysis for something like this always has to come with that giant asterisk. That said, these are still real events caught on camera, and some judgments are fair to make even without full context. So let's talk about the Traitors. Most people who clicked on this are probably familiar with the show, but let's quickly go over the rules. 20 or so people are invited to a secluded spot to play a game. Of that group, a handful are secretly selected as traitors. Every night, these traitors murder one of the other players, and that person is then removed from the game. The next day, the entire group holds a round table to figure out who the traitor is. A vote is held, and whoever receives the most votes reveals whether or not they are a traitor and leaves the game. Up front, I don't really like reality TV. It took a lot of convincing before I gave the Traitors a chance, but I'm glad I gave in. It's an interesting social experiment, and so far every game I've watched has offered something unique and compelling. I especially like the international versions. While the US games now fill the roster exclusively with reality TV stars, the other games cast, for lack of a better word, normal people, and I find those dynamics a lot more interesting. For the most part, I have a fun time watching the game run its course. And then, there's Australia Season 2. A grueling, infuriating 9-episode experience. I nearly didn't make it to the end, and while I wouldn't say the finale is a happy affair, it definitely makes the journey worthwhile. I'm going to spoil the entire thing, so if you want to experience it for yourself, now's your chance to back out, but I will try to make this a worthwhile video whether you've seen the show or not. So let's get into it. There's a lot of people here, and don't worry, I'm not going to introduce all of them. For now, we'll pick 5 players as our main characters. First is Annabelle, a fervent Traitors fan who has seen virtually every version of the show. During this game, she will form a close friendship with Luke, a former Survivor contestant with a notorious reputation. I do not know why he has that reputation, and I'm not going to look it up. Of course, there's Blake, who is one of the traitors for this game. He's a laid-back, non-confrontational kind of guy. Joining him is Ash, another reality TV star. She's a very different player than Blake, much more direct and take charge. And then there's our final traitor, Sam.
I just went, boom, game over. Tush, tush, tush. I am in the game and ready to play.
Sam works in marketing, and that's all I want to say about him right now. Right off the bat, there are some issues with this traitor dynamic. Blake is fairly amenable, but Sam and Ash want to take complete control of the game and will not stand for anyone getting in their way. This makes Blake the team tiebreaker. In their first murder, Sam and Ash have very different strategies. Sam wants to pick someone who has already stirred up drama to stoke those flames in the group. Ash would rather go for an innocuous player to make things chaotic and confusing. Blake agrees with Ash, so they go with her plan. And while there are no visible arguments or tension, this is the first in a series of events that lead Sam to ruin this game. It's only been a couple of days, but Sam is feeling extremely confident.
All the faithfuls have no idea, and they do not know how to catch a traitor. No one's onto me. I'm completely undetected right now.
This early stage of the game is pretty easy for the traitors. It's not like there are crime scenes or clues for people to investigate. The other players just don't have much to work with. And that's why they typically point fingers at people who start drawing a lot of attention to themselves. The best play for a traitor is to stay under the radar and start gaining people's trust. Sam decides to go in the opposite direction and convince the group to banish Ash.
Who would get rid of another traitor so early? That's suicidal. Like, you should not do that. That's exactly what I'm gonna do.
With this many players remaining, it's nearly impossible to pin down a traitor. Successfully identifying one actually makes you look suspicious, because how could you have possibly known? On top of that, if you accuse a fellow traitor and they aren't voted out, you now have to keep working with the person who knows you stabbed them in the back. Despite knowing all of this, Sam campaigns very aggressively. He is determined to get Ash out at all costs. With her in the tower, it's impossible for him to take complete control of the game.
Well, I didn't come in this game to be ruled by Ash and Ash's game. I come in here to play my game, so one of us have to go.
To his credit, Sam does make some strategic decisions. He does a decent job throwing suspicion on a player who has otherwise had no heat on them, and he manages to do it without Ash catching on. But it's still a very tall order. In this roundtable, Ash's name comes up briefly, but ultimately another player, Guyton, is voted out. Even though Sam's plan failed and Ash is now suspicious of him, this is not as much of a setback as it might seem. In fact, the results of this roundtable set things up very nicely for him in the next round. Guyton was a nice guy and very well liked, so voting him out and discovering he's innocent really hurts morale. The team is desperate for a win and more susceptible to anyone who can make a compelling case. And so here comes Sam. Sam is a professional marketer. He knows how to sell people on an idea. But he's also pushy and impatient.
We'll do Ash. We'll do Ash? No one pull in.
Sammy's definitely been the one acting weird. Why he's so boom, it has to be Ash. That's what makes me fishy about the whole situation.
Thanks to his aggressive campaigning, word finally gets back to Ash, leading to a confrontation at the roundtable. Ash is not afraid of conflict and she's used to being in the spotlight. She dives right in at Sam, possibly believing he would crack under the pressure. Unfortunately for her, when Sam is determined to get something done, he knows how to stay calm.
Sam,
Yes.
are you a traitor?
No. 100%. I'm 100% faithful. I swear to God, I'm 100% faithful, and I'm here to get a traitor. And I promise you guys, all of you guys, that I 100% will.
This is a big problem for her because she doesn't have a good argument as to why Sam would be a traitor. She attempts to point out inconsistencies in his behavior, but it's vague with little substance. The case Sam builds against her is similar in strategy, but he creates a much better narrative.
When Ash entered this building, she was so loud, made jokes, insulted people, and did all this stuff. Traitor selection. Super quiet, doesn't do anything, super nice, sucked up to all the people she insulted and made problems with.
There is an interesting moment where Sam could have blown things up. Ash mentions that someone told her Sam was dropping her name, which gets a strange, obsessive reaction.
Who was that person?
Just a minute, please.
No, but first, who was that person?
Can you just let me finish?
Okay.
Just let me finish my
No
story,
problem.
right? You floated my name somewhere and that person has then reported back to me, right?
Well, we'll see.
Then, shut up for a second.
Come on,
A little
Ash.
bit much.
Fortunately for Sam, Ash loses her cool and ends up looking impatient and defensive. And while this could have been an intentional ploy on his part, I'm not so sure. As we'll see later, whenever Sam feels betrayed, he can't focus on anything else. He needed to know who talked to her, and I wonder how far he would have pushed this if she hadn't lost her patience. Lucky for him, the damage is already done. Voting in this round is sporadic, with several names written down, but Ash's frustrated, emotional reactions were enough to cast doubt on her and clinch a victory for Sam. She reveals herself as a traitor, leaves the game, and Sam is hailed as the brilliant visionary who saw what no one else could. Now that a traitor has been eliminated, the rules allow Sam and Blake to recruit a new one. It probably goes without saying that Sam is not interested. He now has complete control over the room and aims to keep it that way.
I don't need anyone. I could do this whole game just me as the one traitor. I don't need any help.
Instead, Sam focuses on getting rid of anyone who can't be easily manipulated. So they eliminate Paul, a disabled shark attack survivor, not the type of guy Sam could easily push around. Sam's gotten quite a fan club after getting rid of Ash, and the president of that club is the new member of our main cast, Liam.
I 100% trust Sam in this game. I know he's a faithful and everyone should know that.
The irony of this game is that even though you can't trust anyone, you also need someone you can consider a confidant. So it's not surprising that Liam latches onto Sam. Of all the players, Sam is closest to Liam's demographic, and when Sam campaigned against Ash, he engaged Liam one-on-one, building a one-sided feeling of camaraderie. But while many players have fallen under Sam's spell, Luke and Anna remain unfazed. His aggressive campaign against Ash and their contentious exchange at the round table made it clear to them that he is a traitor. For now, they keep their cards close to the chest, choosing not to go after Sam until they're sure they can secure the numbers. One thing I always keep in mind with this show is that I have no idea what it's like to be in this game. From my perspective, Sam is an obvious narcissistic bully, but I have access to a side of him that the players don't. After the show aired, several players said in interviews that they knew Sam was cocky, but they had no idea the true extent of it. Additionally, we have to remember that these people spend hours upon hours together, which isn't shown in the final cut. Things that seem like obvious red flags to a viewer might not be as conspicuous when you spend a lot of time with that person. So when I hear,
"He's a genuine guy, I've got no doubt that he's a faithful,"
I think, yeah, genuinely terrible, but I can't say for sure that I would think differently in their position. Now, by that same token, it is all the more impressive when a player not only identifies a traitor, but how and why they made their decisions. After last night's banishment, where the group banished Ian, Anna realizes Blake is a traitor from his overblown reaction to losing a player with whom he had very little interaction or connection. Luke agrees with her, and they decide to take him out before going after Sam. Better yet, they can use Sam for this plan because they know he won't hesitate to take out another traitor. At this point, Anna knows who she's dealing with. Sam lives in a contradictory headspace where he believes he's a genius for fooling everyone,
I am the best trader to ever play this game.
but also belittles everyone because they can't seem to figure him out.
None of these people know how to play this game. I could have trader across my forehead and I still wouldn't get banished.
As long as you act like you're under his spell, Sam will never see you coming. So of course he jumps headfirst into Anna's trap, all the while believing that he's the one pulling her strings. Anna is a great detective, very perceptive and difficult to manipulate. Unfortunately, those are not the only skills you need for this game. While she has formed a bond with Luke, her connection with other players is not so great. When she starts putting Blake's name out there, some players find it suspicious. During the roundtable, she realizes that some people are considering her for banishment and abandons her strategy. Instead of focusing attention on Blake, she lays out all of her conclusions about Sam and the traitors.
The Ash vote came along, and without any evidence, separately, Sam came to both Luke and I and said, "Trust me, absolutely trust me, Annabelle. You need to put Ash's name down tonight or you are going to get murdered." And I said, if Ash gets voted out tonight on this baseless evidence and his absolute certainty, then that's how we know 100% that Sam's the traitor.
The look on Sam and Blake's faces as she details everything, including Sam's eagerness to throw Blake under the bus, is pretty great. She gets virtually everything right. And for a second, it seems like Sam will get his comeuppance. Unfortunately,
I'm confused. I don't see evidence.
This is exactly how Ash came in when the heat was on her and she was a traitor. It's exactly what you're doing.
This is a masterclass in manipulation by Annabelle.
So what happened here? To put it simply, Anna is too good at this game, at least the induction part of it. She understands how the game works and can make strong conclusions from observing people's behavior. Unfortunately, the other players are not on her level, and she falls short when it comes to influencing them. When Sam goes after people, he hits them like a train. He talks fast and doesn't give the group space to think. He is laser focused on one mission and does not care about long-term consequences. Anna is much more strategic, but she has a hard time focusing on the mission at hand. Once she realizes things aren't going her way, she abandons strategy to lay out everything against Sam, which ironically makes her look like a schemer and manipulator. There is a sliver of hope when Luke vouches for her. He has nothing to gain by backing her up, it only puts him in harm's way.
Why would I go out of my way when Sam's name hasn't been in the table at all and I could have sat quiet tonight, but I haven't. I don't want you to make a mistake.
But sadly, it's not enough. The final vote count is 1 for Blake, 2 for Sam, and 7 for Anna. It is particularly infuriating to see how smug some of the players are as they turn on the only person who has made any real progress for their team.
I've never felt as secure writing a name down as I did this evening.
In the aftermath, Luke predicts that he will be murdered tonight and urges everyone to vote Sam out while they still have the numbers to do it. And so we leave this episode with the hope that people will learn from this screw-up, honor Anna's sacrifice, and focus their attention on Sam.
I know 1,000% that the one traitor in this game is Luke.
So Sam murders Luke, obviously, but before he could do that, he had to deal with a very angry Blake.
I don't trust a fucking word you say, mate.
Blake never fully trusted Sam, and Anna's account of his betrayal is the final straw. He knows Sam will gladly stab him in the back and resolves to get rid of him at the first opportunity. Seeing his anger and determination here, it feels like he might be the one to finally get the job done. Now, in every Traitors episode, there's some sort of challenge the group has to go through in order to earn money for the grand prize. I haven't talked about any of these challenges because they're the most boring part of the show. But finally, we have one that's worth mentioning. The players must carry heavy sacks of silver up a mountain to add it to the total winning prize. At the hike's midpoint, they are offered an in-game advantage if they sacrifice 1 bar of silver, which will affect the final prize count for all players. Whatever they decide, it's kept confidential. Players will only know that some people chose to take the deal. Sam, of course, takes the deal. Being one of the more physically fit players, he goes up and down the mountain 3 times. The second time, instead of a game perk, he's offered a drink, which he takes. The third time, he's offered another drink.
1 silver bar. I didn't even want it. I just wanted to have that feeling of throwing away a silver bar.
You can tell that even the host is starting to lose it with this kid. Well, that's about all I can stomach of Sam for now, so let's take a little break here to talk about the newest member of our main cast, Camille. She hasn't had much screen time because she's not a dramatic or extra kind of person, which doesn't make for great reality TV. But throughout the game, she has displayed thoughtful, even-handed decision-making, and even though some of those decisions were disastrously wrong, her thought process was understandable. She is one of the few people who recognizes Luke's sacrifice and realizes Sam must be a traitor. Back to the mountain, Camille is also offered the deal multiple times and always declines.
I would rather be a team player. I'd rather the other faithfuls to trust me, and I want to get the silver to the top for the team.
And just like that, we have a new protagonist. Sam is under a lot of heat at the round table. He says Luke's murder is a frame job, but Liam is the only one buying that story.
If he doesn't walk through this door, I'm set up and I'm done.
No, but that's what they want. That's what they want, mate.
Camille lays out her case against Sam, and Blake, sensing an opportunity, jumps in with her. Sam vigorously defends himself and then deflects the accusation to another player, Simone.
Simone, do you think you've played a really good game? It's kind of like you floated through this whole thing like a ghost. There's a name out there, you kind of went with it. The Ash thing, you went with it. Many things you've gone with, and I just want to say, are you a traitor?
Simone makes the mistake of defending herself instead of turning the argument back on Sam. Keep in mind, there is usually no hard evidence in this game. Players can only make guesses from suspicions and gut feelings. It's hard to build a solid defense against that. If the group's attention is focused on you, they'll find reasons to be suspicious. You want to turn the conversation onto someone else as soon as possible. Ironically, it's because there's so much evidence against Sam that he doesn't have this problem. He knows what makes him look suspicious and can create logic-based counter-arguments. He speaks confidently and quickly diverts attention elsewhere, while Simone, unfortunately, sounds very weak and unsure of herself.
I am not a traitor.
But why are you not a traitor?
I'm trying to find the traitors.
But why are you not a traitor? What have you done to make you be a faithful in this game?
Once again, Sam defies the odds and survives another round. Simone is voted out, and the round table is over. Sam just pulled a Hail Mary, but his job gets harder every time he convinces the group to vote out an innocent person. He needs to plan his next move very carefully. And yet, before anyone can even stand up...
I just want to know, Blake, why you wrote my name in the punishment.
Can't ignore what happens in front of me. To have Luke turn on you like that, and then he's gone.
Yeah, but you didn't say anything. It was like a little sneaky thing you did.
I thought it would be too obvious for everyone. And I think that's what Simone
But you do realise Luke and Annabelle were saying you were a traitor as well. What do you have for that?
Nothing, because I know that
So
I'm
you're
not.
saying that what they said about me is true, but what they said about you is false?
I have a hard time giving grace to the other players here. Blake was not the only person who went for Sam tonight. There is no reason for him to take it so personally. But somehow this flies under almost everyone's radar. Blake is left dumbstruck. This was supposed to be an easy win. Almost everyone went into the room ready to vote Sam out, and not only did he wriggle out of it, he made it clear that he will sick the dogs on anyone who doesn't fall in line. With Blake making moves and Camille firmly convinced he's a traitor, Sam believes the only way he can maintain the numbers he needs to survive banishment is to recruit Camille to the Traitors. But to do this, he'll need Blake's cooperation. At this point, Blake should know better than to go along with any of Sam's plans. Nothing this lunatic does will ever work to his benefit. But Sam promises a truce if he agrees to this, and Blake is pretty quick to roll over. As for Camille, while she is a team player, the current faithfuls aren't much of a team, so she jumps to the winning side. Sam is extremely proud of this decision, as he believes Camille will be easy to manipulate.
And Camille? Oh, she's gonna make a terrible traitor. But she's one of my little puppets, and now I have 2 traitors under my command.
This feels like the best time to tell you that, unbeknownst to the other players, Camille is a former federal agent with 17 years of experience tracking down drug smugglers and human traffickers. With Camille on the team, Sam's first priority is to ignore his truce with Blake and get him banished. But as the day goes on, he discovers that the top candidates for tonight's banishment are Liam and Keith. Liam's loyalty to Sam cannot be overstated. With so much evidence mounting up, Sam has to keep crafting narratives to explain why the traitors haven't murdered him yet. Liam takes the bait every time and serves as his most dogged defender at every roundtable.
Do you guys think that if I was a traitor, I would try and get Ash out on the second banishment of this game?
I don't. Personally, I don't.
While Sam feels no loyalty to Liam, he knows he needs to keep him in the game. Keith, meanwhile, is Blake's best in-game friend, so saving Liam while eliminating Keith would be a win-win. On top of that, during today's challenge, the players had to throw axes at targets marked with each remaining player's head. The player with the last target standing receives a shield, which protects that player from murder. Believing that Sam is the least likely candidate for murder, Keith goes for his target. Keep in mind, Sam can't be murdered. The shield has very little advantage for him. But of course...
When Keith hit my target, I was pissed. I gotta get him now.
A class act, as always. When Blake and Sam realize that the only way to control the banishment is to gang up on Liam or Keith, they decide to work together to get the job done. Can you guess which one gives up his only advantage in the game to keep the other one happy?
Genuinely, it's hard.
It's hard, I know.
But I'm down to do Keith.
This deal feels especially perverse because Blake and Keith are genuine friends, to the point that Keith cried that morning when he thought Blake had been murdered.
And this banishment, you will realise how much trust you have in me.
No, I know.
Because all of them wanted you, and I'm like, no.
I do. I'm grateful, thank you.
As Keith stands in the banishment circle, he reveals that he spent several years as an undercover cop and gives an aggrandizing speech about his career.
Just before I turned 22, I went deep undercover for 2 years, lived in the criminal world and posed as a drug dealer. Then when I came out of that, I joined the tactical special weapons area and spent 7 years kicking down doors with a machine gun in my hand. I'm a best-selling author and one of Australia's most decorated police officers.
And then, with a cocky smile, he leaves, after 7 round tables where he never once wrote a traitor's name. Only 2 episodes left, and the atmosphere is bleak. The Faithfuls have only found one traitor, and Blake and Camille are stuck writing out the game with a black hole. It's looking grim for everybody. Everyone, except Liam, is now convinced that Sam is a traitor. Additionally, now that Camille has seen more of Sam's true color, she's eager to get rid of him before he can stab her in the back. Once again, the group goes into the round table with almost everyone ready to vote Sam out.
In the end, it was 5 votes to 1. Unfortunately tonight, Gloria, you have been banished from the game.
Both totally unexpected, and yet not at all surprising. Gloria led the charge against Sam this time, and for some odd reason, she opens her argument saying that they should look at someone they don't expect. But Sam is the player that everyone expects. You know who they wouldn't expect? Gloria. And Sam seizes that vulnerability. Like Simone, she makes the mistake of defending herself instead of deflecting back to Sam. As the mood in the room turns, even Camille and Blake turn on her. This is another hard one to watch. Blake and Camille could have stood their ground and finished Sam off for good, but when they see Sarah wavering, they just give in. In later interviews, Camille reveals that she chose not to go after Sam because he's so erratic and she wasn't sure how he would react if he were banished. He may have exposed her out of pettiness. As for Blake, well, he's just a kicked dog at this point. As has happened in every roundtable in this game, one player wakes up and realizes Sam is the traitor. And finally, here at the very end, that player is Liam.
I know I'm gone.
Oh, don't say that.
Nah. So, I'm just going to say who I think the 2 traitors are. And it is you. And you.
You can actually pinpoint the second where he realizes he's been duped. Going into the final episode, there's no one left in Sam's fan club, but oh my gosh, can you believe it? That still won't be enough to finish him. There is no murder on the final night, which means Liam gets to limp through the last episode. After propping up Sam for the entire game, he now has to live through the same fate he inflicted on so many others. We're going to vote Sam out, right? We all know it's him, yeah? 100%, we're definitely getting Sam.
4 votes for Liam, which means unfortunately you have been banished. You wouldn't mind joining me up here?
And with that, we're down to 4 players, with Sarah as the only remaining faithful. Sarah is the most consistent, inconsistent player. She will tell everyone she's doing one thing, and pivot at the last minute for no discernible reason. It is partly because of her that Blake and Camille never felt like they could get rid of Sam.
The issue is that Sarah is such an unknown element. You can't make plans around her being a reliable factor to that plan.
So they eliminate her and go to the final showdown with Sam. Before we go any further, I want to ask a question. Is Sam good at this game? Before answering, let's take a break here to look at US Traitors Season 1. And I'm sorry, but I will spoil the outcome of that game, so skip here if you want to avoid it. This game featured Suri, a veteran Survivor contestant. Suri was selected as a Day 1 traitor. During her 10-episode run, her name was rarely, if ever, mentioned at the roundtable, and was never a serious contender for banishment. Suri had a keen understanding of the group's dynamics and how she was perceived within that group. She knew, or at least had some idea, of their preconceived judgments, which allowed her to play to their expectations and avoid suspicion. Additionally, she formed strong, trusted relationships. By the end, every remaining player loved her to the point that even when she had a chance to end the game and split the prize with another traitor, she personally reopened the vote and convinced the other players to banish him so she could take it all herself. In the season reunion, she received criticism from players who felt she used information shared during intimate, vulnerable conversations to manipulate them into trusting her.
Our relationship was so real to me. It had nothing to do with the traitors. What we discussed, all the in-depth conversations we had, was 100% authentic for me and you. It just so happened that it occurred during this game called the Traitors.
Suri is good at building connections, and while it may have advantages for her, that doesn't make it disingenuous. Everyone in this game is at least aware that the person they bond with may be competing against them. I consider Suri the case study of a perfect game. She was never under serious suspicion, all of the final players were her allies, and she took the entire prize. To be clear, while I do think Suri is an ethical person, that has no bearing on whether she played a good game. If she had ruthlessly mocked everyone who trusted her the way Sam does, she'd still be just as talented. At the same time, her empathy and success are not mutually exclusive. She understood that this is a social game and building relationships is vital to your strategy. In that regard, Sam is a complete and utter failure. He has skills that allowed him to progress in the game, but here in the end, all of his allies are gone and he's stuck with two players who know he's only in this for himself. It's an especially spectacular screw-up because Liam was a golden ticket. He trusted Sam so completely without Sam even having to do anything. Had Sam voted out one more traitor, Liam probably would have ridden it out to the end. But instead, Sam had to constantly defend himself, always rooting out enemies instead of building a long-term victory plan. Like I said before, while the very nature of this game makes it impossible to fully trust anyone, you still need trust to succeed in it. The rules are carefully designed to exploit this. With 3 traitors left, one last choice must be presented before they can take the prize. This is the traitor's dilemma. Every traitor must choose to share the prize or steal it. If everyone agrees to share, they split it 3 ways. If 1 or 2 people choose to steal, they will take the money for themselves. And if everyone chooses to steal, no one wins. The game is forfeit. I'm sure that just by hearing those rules, you already know how this ends. There is no universe where Sam would choose to share. Camille and Blake both know this. The game is over. But Sam... Guys, Sam actually thinks he's walking out of here with all that money.
The sheriff will write steal. I deserve all of it. I got rid of the other traitors, I get rid of all the faithfuls. I've done all the work. And my next move right now is I'm going to use the skill set that I've been born with to convince them 2 traitors that we're going to share this. Yes, let's share the money.
Sam's problem, well, one of his problems, is that he's so full of himself he can't recognize the skills he actually does have. His talent is in deflecting attention away from himself and generating mob mentality against people who aren't good at defending themselves. He's a bully, and a damn good one. But now there's no one to use as a distraction. Now it comes down to him and whether or not people can trust him. Bless his heart, he truly thought he could do it.
That is 3 steals, meaning, unfortunately, no one takes the prize home tonight.
I can't believe that just happened.
Perhaps on some level he knew he couldn't get anyone to trust him. He felt like he just deserved to win, and in a truly pathetic display actually says that to the host.
We worked bloody hard the whole game to try and stay here, and I think we did deserve to have that silver.
Fortunately, no one takes the silver home at all.
The barely contained glee on Roger's face here. This is the satisfying end to a long, miserable gig. With the dust settled, Sam unleashes a little tantrum on Camille.
Camille, if you were an OG trader and there was 2 people over there and you brought me in and I was like, you did all the work, I would have been like, you know what, I'm going to take the risk and share it. I think you actually know deep down in your heart that you realise that me and Blake do deserve it, and how hard we've worked and how smart we've worked, that you should have just been like, you know what, that's fair play, boys. You've done good. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I did all the work, and so did Blake.
And I knew you'd come here and say, we worked the hardest. And
I
you
did.
did.
You know how hard it was to be
You just made some mistakes. It's just the game, guys. It's just the game.
Yeah, that's what a rich person says.
I didn't even want it. I just wanted to have that feeling of throwing away a silver bar.
While Camille gets the brunt of Sam's anger, I feel like Blake suffers the worst fate. Sam is not happy about Blake choosing to steal. You can see it plain as day on his face when it happens. But he still frames it as though he and Blake were in this together. It's not entirely surprising. Sam is not a rebel. Zero punk energy. If he won, he'd be fine standing there alone. There is social validation in that. But as it stands, he's a loser. Better to frame it as though Camille cheated both of them. He didn't lose, she didn't play fair. Right, Blake? You're with me on this. We deserved to win. Blake can't bring himself to say anything. He just stands there defeated as Sam uses him one last time. Of course, we know that if Blake had backed Sam up, then as soon as Camille walked away, Sam would turn on him too. That's how bullies operate. Divide people so they can't band together against you, and once they've burned their bridges and have no one to rely on but you, kick them, berate them, remind them that they are beneath you. It's tempting to blame the outcome of this game entirely on Sam. He is so supremely arrogant, sadistic, and unlikable. But the truth is, he's not special. There have been Sams in other games, they just never made it as far. Sam's success here isn't because he's uniquely talented, it's that this group was a remarkable mess. What if Sam wasn't here? We'd still have a player who had a hard time trusting people different from himself. A player so impressed with his resume, he thought he was smarter than he was. A player who made choices based on her disdain for others rather than the evidence in front of her. One thing I noticed about this season is that there weren't many friendships. There were some one-on-one bonds like Anna and Luke and Blake and Keith, but no real camaraderie beyond that. Because of that, it was easy for Sam to pick them off one by one. Multiple times the group went to the round table ready to vote him out, but he was able to turn them against each other because they had no unity. When a reckless, self-interested player rises to power, they are naturally vilified. A villain gives us someone to point to and say, if they weren't here, everything would be better. And that may be true to some extent, but it's a cheap answer to a complicated problem. Sam helped drive wedges during roundtables, but every player was complicit in what happened here. Even Anna, who was very aware of what Sam was doing, failed to stop him. I know this is getting repetitive, but the genius of this game is that you can never fully trust anyone, but you also can't win without cooperating. And regular life isn't so different. People like Sam thrive on division. He's in this for himself, and the only way to get ahead is by fueling that same feeling in others, giving them reasons to turn on each other so that they can't focus on the actual goal. All the while, he positions himself as the stalwart defender against the enemy, the person you have to trust because he's the one looking out for you.
I'm here to get a traitor, and I promise you guys, all of you guys, that I 100% will.
And these players took the bait. While it's true that they can't really trust anyone, at the end of the day, most people here are on the same team. Solidarity is the best defense against cheap scapegoating. Really, the only player who presented a real challenge to Sam was Luke. Like I said, I don't know what he did in Survivor, but here in this game, he was the only one who stood up when it really counted, when it had no benefit to him and actively put him in harm's way. It was an inspiring act of bravery in a depressingly tragic story. I could end this with some final takedown of Sam, really dive in on what a petty, spiteful creature he is, but doing that would undermine the point I want to make here. Sam is the bait I used to get eyes on this video, but it's not really about him, so the best thing is to just leave it be. But the drink thing. Okay, real quick. Sam's downfall was inevitable. Power-hungry narcissists surround themselves with sycophants and cowards. These are not allies, they are opportunists who will seize power for themselves the first chance they get. They will eat each other until everything they've accumulated falls apart, and in the meantime, everyone else will suffer. Sam instinctively dragged Blake in as an accomplice in his tirade against Camille because he was terrified they would unite against him. If he can still divide them, if he can still drag someone into his petty, childish tantrum, then on some level he still wins. Camille made sure there were no winners in this game because she has integrity. She decided Sam didn't deserve a reward at her expense, and he can't stand it. The rich person comment is extremely telling. Looking at Sam's Instagram, he does not present himself as someone hurting for money. Maybe that comment was just a spiteful attempt to hit Camille with what he thought would hurt her the most. Maybe it's a glimpse at deep-rooted feelings of inferiority and envy. It doesn't matter how well things are going for him. If someone appears better off, he feels cheated. It makes sense that he works in marketing.
Advertising is based on one thing: happiness.
More accurately, it's about the appearance of happiness. And Sam is certainly good at making himself look happy and successful. But that comment makes me think we're looking at someone with a hole inside, and nothing will ever be big enough to fill it. I want to reiterate that whatever judgments I've made here are completely based on the product that I was given. I do not know these people, I only have a slice of them based on what editors thought was interesting for TV. I looked at them more like characters in a story, and like any good story, I thought there were some valuable insights to be drawn here. But they might be difficult to see with Sam's overbearing presence. Anyway, in keeping with this channel's tradition of being a hodgepodge of mismatched topics that will never keep a consistent audience, I wanted to let you know that I've launched a second gaming-focused channel. This will mostly just be gameplay videos with some lore theories. To be honest, it's all going to just be FromSoft stuff. Those are the only games I can stand to play anymore. It's fun. You'll have a good time.